This is the place where anointing is. Rebuilding, uplifting, and reaching the nation. Prayer Tower, where genuine love is. Prayer Tower, where the Spirit of the Lord is. Dedicated to wholeness and service to mankind.
He's going to come, amen, his own way. Amen. He hails all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana. Amen. He's a part of the family. Man, I didn't know you were wearing the brown shoes black today. No, I didn't know you were doing it. I love it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Amen. I love you.
Amen.
Bless you, Pastor. Bless you. Amen. Great tower.
Amen.
I was telling my wife this morning that I wasn't sure on what I was going to say when I got up this morning, but I told her I always keep at least 3 in the chamber.
That's all right.
And I wait for a word from the Lord, confirmation, and I got it this morning, so I know the story that I'm going to tell.
Amen.
There was a man and his family out in the field working, and his son looked up and said, "Dad, I see smoke in the distance." He said, "Well, son, let's go see if we can help." So they take off out the field, and the closer they get to the fire, they realize that their house has gone up in flames. And when they get there, they ask the fire department, what's going on, what happened? And it was like, we don't know, everything is under investigation right now. But pretty much everything is a loss. And the man looked at his son, he said, "Son, I don't know what we're going to do because everything we had and everything we owned was in that house." And then the fireman heard him talking to his son, and he said, "Look, this is what I want you to do." He said, "I want you to go down the street, and you're going to go to the clothing store." And he says, "Go in there and tell them what happened, and you'll be taken care of. And when you get there, tell them I sent you." And he said, "Well, sir, what's your name?" He said, "Don't worry about it." He said, "Just tell them I sent you." So him and his son jumped in his truck. The only thing that they had left was that old pickup truck and the shoes and clothes that they had on their feet and body. And they drove down there to the clothing store, and he said, "I just lost everything that I own. Only thing I got left right now is my son, this old truck, and the shoes and clothes we got on my back. And one of the firemen told me to come down here and see you. And he told me to tell you that he sent you." So the man said, "Say no more." He took him in the back and he got him fitted for some new clothes and new shoes, brought his son in the back and did the same thing. And he said, "So I hear that you said that you lost everything, so this is what I want you to do." He said, "I want you to go down the street to the other store and then tell them I sent you." And he said, "Well, what store is that?" He said, "Go down to the grocery store. Tell them I sent you." And he said, "Okay." In his new shoes and his new clothes and his son, they feeling a little bit better, but they're still dismayed because they lost home. They go down to the grocery store, and he walks in there and he tells the grocery store manager, he says, "Look," he said, "I just lost everything that I own in the house fire. The only thing I got left is the shoes that I had on my feet and the clothes that I had on my back. But this man that I just met clothed me and my son, and he told me to come here to see you about some groceries. And he told me to tell you that he sent me." So the man says, "Say no more. Tell him to get his grocery basket, go fill it up, whatever he wants, and take it." He said, "Well, I don't have a kitchen, nothing like that." He said, "I didn't ask you that." He said, "Go get whatever it is that you need. And don't worry about the cost." So the man looked at his son, and his son already had the basket in his hand. The children, they don't go get all the junk food and all that stuff. So they walk around the store, they grocery shopping, and the man is just thinking about, how his situation is changing. So he goes back up to the front and he starts to bag his groceries, and the man said, "No, don't you do that. We got people here for that." And he called some of his workers over. He told them, he said, "Back up this man's groceries and take them out to his vehicle for him." And he says, "Son," he said, "when you finish with all that," he said, "Well, where are you going from here?" He says, "I don't know. We don't have anywhere to go. I guess we're going to see if we can go find a relative or something to stay with for a little while." Well, we know family ain't always family. And you can't go and stay with all your family. He knew this. He would prefer to be in his own. The man told me, he said, look, don't worry about trolling your family. I'm sure they got their own things to worry about. You just going to add to their bills or whatever. He said, I tell you what you do. He said, I want you to go to this church down the street. They have a house in the back that I'm sure that you'll be able to stay in. Just tell them I sent you. So he went there, and there was someone at the church working. And he says, look, he said, I just lost everything that I own in the house. The only thing I got left is the clothes on my back and the shoes on my feet. Yeah. I met a man at the clothing store. He gave me these clothes that I have on now. He gave me a few extras that I got out there in my vehicle. We don't have anything to eat because everything was lost in the fire. He told me to go to the grocery store and get whatever I needed. And don't worry about where I was going to prepare that. And I told him I didn't have nowhere to go. He told me to come see you. He said, say no more. We got a place for you in the back. And he took him and his son in the back, and he took him to a fully furnished apartment that was on the church property. And said, this is yours, stay here as long as you need it. What I came to tell you this morning, prayer tower, was it's good to be connected. Yeah. Because that next Sunday, that man and his son got up and put on some new clothes and some new shoes at the first man day. Yeah. Off the recommendation of the first fireman-day event. And he got up and he went to that church. They gave him and his son a place to stay. Yeah. And lo and behold, guess who the preacher was? The fireman. It was good to be connected.
That's right. That's right.
Where you're out there listening to prayer tower, it's good to be connected. Yeah. Come back to the house. Yeah. If you're in here within the sound of my voice, it's good to be connected.